Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome to September 1st at Simon Says Stamp. This is my first STAMPtember video for 2022 and we have a Halloween card showcase. Oh my goodness, you guys, I had so much fun making 4 Halloween cards to share with you today using tons of brand new Simon Says Stamp branded products. So these are new products from the September 1st, 2022 release. Let's go ahead and start with this amazing pumpkin. This is called the Layered Pumpkin. I am using it for a Halloween card, but something I really like about this pumpkin is that it doesn't have a jack-o'-lantern face. So maybe you want to use it for fall cards or Thanksgiving cards. You can totally do that. It's going to work great. It has both the backer piece and the layers, which the layers are going to definitely give you more of that pumpkin feel. You probably could just color the backer if you wanted to, especially with the technique that I'm going to do. I did go ahead and die cut everything from smooth white cardstock. I added some liquid glue to the base and then I'm gluing everything down before adding my color with Copic markers. And this is my very, very favorite way to color in a pumpkin that I'm going to do here in a minute. I actually got some schmutz there on my stem, so I fixed it really quick. We're going to zoom in just a tiny bit and you're going to see me do these big long strokes. I don't want to overblend at all with the pumpkin, and I am going to color in with 3 colors of Copic markers to start with. I will pull in like a little E57 here a little bit later, one of the stem colors. All of the marker colors I am using are listed in the description below, as well as on my blog post that coordinates with this post. But I love it. It's big, it's bold, it could totally be used on its own, but you guys know me. Of course I'm not going to use it on its own. I got to use all the rest of the cute stuff too. Now I think this and like the leaves and acorns would make a beautiful like little arrangement on a card with a fall or Thanksgiving type of sentiment, which there's a really great Thanksgiving sentiment in our stamp set, pardon me, in this September 1st release, so definitely check that out if you're wanting to do something a little less Halloween themed. You guys, I'm so into Halloween this year. Halloween quilts, Halloween cross stitch, Halloween cards, I mean everything. I am here for it. I love Halloween decorating anyway, but for some reason this year, I just think all the products that are being released to us are so good. Next up, we have another more fallish themed die cut, which is the Acorn Trio. Oh, I love this Acorn Trio. Again, everything die cut from smooth white cardstock and colored in with Copic markers. I am using the Simon Says Stamp Grid paper pad, tear off paper pad underneath me because it's very easy cleanup. I just simply tear off that top sheet and throw it away. So you're going to see me use that a lot in today's video. The acorns are really cute. To me, I think they're sized great for lots of different cards. You're probably going to see me use this a lot. I love fall crafting of all the things. So not just Halloween, but just fall crafting. And so I loved seeing the addition of these really cute acorns. Again, not over blending. These little aqua handled scissors, brand new for STAMPtember. How adorable are these? Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm just so very excited about the entire release. It's so good. You're going to see lots of videos from me with the STAMPtember 1st release here over the next couple days before we get into exclusives and limited editions and all of that good stuff. And then also throughout the month and going forward, because these products will be restocked if they sell out. The Simon branded products are not a limited edition. The leaves, this is the etched oak leaves die. It is a trio of 3 oak leaves. Again, another fantastic fall themed product. I'm going to mix it in with some little Frankenstein images to make it Halloween, but these products on their own, I hope you can really see that they could be fall instead. I used 2 of the 3 leaves. I think that's going to be plenty. These are pretty big. It's going to completely fill the front of my card once I add Mr. Frank here. And I, of course, did a nice deep dark red, yellow, browns, and oranges. All the good fall colors. On a sheet of smooth white cardstock, we are going to stamp Frank. And Frank here, I am going to stamp the head. This is great. This is a really fun stamp set. I really want to make this card for my oldest son. I think he would love this. He's always asking me for cards lately. He doesn't live at home anymore. He's 23. But he's like, just said to me the other day, Mom, you haven't sent me a card in a while. He loves getting cards. So I think this is something he would love for Halloween. I think he'd think this was funny. You can build Frank's face. There are so many options. There's glasses, there's different mouths, different noses, all the things. We're going to add scars to his forehead and then down along his cheek, although I don't know if much of that got noticed. I've got his hands and the little bolts that we can put coming out of his head. When I laid this out, I will just be completely honest with you guys. I did lay everything out. I didn't leave it in the video because the video was kind of long, but I laid out my stamps and my dies on my card base to make sure I thought everything was going to fit before I started. So this came together seamlessly as I had a very good idea what direction I was going. Then of course, Frankenstein's gonna have this awesome green face. I love it. I don't use this color combination for green very often, and I can't quite figure out why. I love it. I think I need to use it for other things. His hair is a deep dark black. You may notice in the finished card that it has some feathering. I actually took a cool gray marker and went over it to give it a little bit more texture. But I think this is just so fun. Imagine him on some maybe gift bags. He's a nice big size. There's lots of really fun sentiments. So we're going to use Let's Be Frank because I thought that was funny and really punny, and that's how I am. But you could do Let's Be Frank, you're electrifying, you're amazing. I'm using You Bring Me to Life. There's Enjoy the Treats. So if you want to make gift tags for Halloween, or maybe you've got littles and you want, or grandkids or nieces and nephews that you would like to make little treat bags for Halloween, how cute would that be? You could put like, Oh Frank, enjoy your treats, or Happy Haunting, enjoy your treats. I love I'm nuts, and then in quotations, and bolt about you. I thought that was hilarious. There's a great Halloween sentiment. You keep me in stitches. That's cute. Just very, very punny. To me, this was a fantastic stamp set. There are coordinating dies that go with this, so it makes it super easy to die cut all of the things. You're going to see all of my coloring. I'm going to give him some purple fingernails. I mean, I thought he needed purple fingernails. What do you guys think? I will take my darkest marker. I added some little dots just to kind of make his skin a little less perfect here in a minute. Some cool grays for the bolts. He's very easy to color. I did feel like his teeth, they need to not look so pristine white. It's Frankenstein. So I did take E81 and I'll add just a little touch of that to his teeth to make them a little less perfect. YR 30 and 31 to his eyes to give him a little bit of a yellowish tint. Then after I'm done die cutting, I will take a black jelly roll pen and add detail to the pupil, and then we are going to cover the eye with crystal lacquer and let it dry, but that's going to be the very, very last thing that we do. I'm going to die cut everything, and it's time to kind of add some of those finishing details and put it all together. For once, I didn't start with the background. I know I tell you like 9 times out of 10 I start with the background. I didn't today. I am going to be going with one of my favorite color combinations for Halloween cards. I can't get enough of it this year. That's Villainous Potion. And in this case, I think I used a Blueprint Sketch, but just a nice deep blue, or kind of, this is a more bright blue, and Black Soot. So anything with some purples, blues, and blacks in it is what I'm loving. A little Rustic Wilderness to kind of help ground it, because I want it to look like he's crouching back behind this pumpkin in a scene. And then we're going to just work on the color. And without the addition of Black Soot, to me it looks a little bright and I want it to be a little more moody. So that's where pulling in the black soot into this design is going to be super important and helpful, even down along the green. You're going to notice I'm going to add that even down here along the bottom because it gives it a much moodier feel. Then I'm going to take white pigment ink, press it onto an acrylic block to use as a palette. When you're using Distress or Distress Oxide inks, you don't want to take your blending brush back to your white pigment ink pad after you have touched your inks, because you can transfer that color to your ink pad. So I always press the ink into an acrylic block and then pick up my ink from that. And I'll show you my brush here in a minute. It's got some blue and purple in it. So definitely glad I did that. This is the Clouds for Days stencil from Simon Says Stamp, previously released. This isn't a new product. And I'm just going to add some clouds to my background. And then we're going to get our splatter box and we're going to add kind of a starry nighttime sky. Oh my gosh, you guys, how cute is this? So with my splatter box, I am going to splatter white gouache and also my favorite liquid stardust from Lawn Fawn. This is another combination that I have been doing for a ton of Halloween cards, but I say if it's not broke, don't fix it. I love the look and I think it really adds a lot just to the background. Our images that we just stamped and colored or die cut and colored are going to take up the main part of the card, but there's nothing wrong with making the background a little interesting. I think it really helps highlight Frankenstein and the pumpkin. So here's that liquid stardust. I'm going to splatter this. I'm actually going to save my splatter box now, even though I didn't do each of the backgrounds back to back, because you can add a little water back to that gouache and make it, if it dries out a little bit, add a little more water. I simply use that same little bit there you see in my splatter box for all the cards today. Then we're going to take our pumpkin and place it in a Misty. And we're going to stamp Let's Be Frank right in the center of this pumpkin. Normally I would probably attempt to stamp and emboss if this was a flat image, but because it's not and we layered on all of those layering pieces for the pumpkin, I felt like black ink was my best bet so that it looks great. And I'm very happy with how it turned out. So that's VersaFine Onyx Black ink right on the pumpkin. The pumpkin is a nice big element with a fairly flat surface, so it's a great spot for a sentiment. I didn't really want to create sentiment strips for both my small phrase and the big one, and so I opted to just do it for the smaller phrase, You Bring Me Life. I am going to then stamp several sentiments. I actually went ahead and picked some other ones from the Witch Please stamp set, also one that I totally love. And I'm just going to stamp them all at the same time, die cut them into sentiment labels with the sentiment labels dies. Brand new from Simon Says Stamp as well. Awesome foam tape. Oh my goodness, you guys, the backing paper comes off so easy. I love this new product. So I used foam tape. You're going to see me use the new Simon Says Stamp foam tape throughout the video and throughout the month. I'm going to tuck leaves and acorns down around the base of my pumpkin. We're popping up the pumpkin. We're popping up Frank. We're going to put his head kind of like he's peeking up around this great pumpkin. Like think, you know, the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown or whatever. So it's this giant pumpkin. And then we're going to glue his hands like he's holding on to it. So like he's holding on to this huge pumpkin and peeking around it. I thought it was just a really, really fun way to create a super cute scene. I'm loving, I know I keep saying that, but I just love these products. I think they're fantastic. I do need to put a little foam adhesive on the little bolts and have them come out of his head. I think they add quite a lot to the finished design. Oh, so cute. And then we're just going to glue and attach the acorns and leaves down around the base and finish with our few finishing details. So in this case, we're going to pop this onto a white top fold card base. I like to use the card bases from Simon Says Stamp. They're pre-cut, pre-scored, nice heavyweight, smooth white cardstock. I use them for 100% of my cards. And here's that black jelly roll pin on the pupil. I've got a little black heart, of course, down right below my sentiments, and then these great little Trinity Stamps bones I thought were really fun too. So that just kind of finishes off the sentiment portion of our design. And Hero Art's crystal lacquer on the eyes. We're going to let that dry. It will dry completely clear. Anything hanging off the edge, we're going to trim away. And that is it. Our Frankenstein and Great Pumpkin card is all finished. So excited about this. I absolutely love this design. I hope it's inspired you to maybe break out some fun Halloween themed products and create a Halloween card. So funny enough, even though I did this card first, I actually was drawn to the Witch Please stamp set. Mostly because when I was little, I loved watching reruns of Bewitched. Now, I have to say, about a year ago, I was thinking about that and I was like, let's just watch a few episodes to see if it's still as magical. And you guys, it's really not. I don't know if it's just me. I did enjoy it. I watched a few, but I kind of quit. But I thought it was funny. I used to watch the reruns of Bewitched, but I still love it. I love the theme music. And so that it really gave me the Bewitched vibes, this stamp set. So I knew already that I wanted to create some cards with it. All the rest of my cards will feature one of the witches from this set. There's 3 silhouettes of witches, 2 on broomsticks and 1 holding her broomstick. For my first background, something else I can't get enough of lately are the Tim Holtz moon masks, or any moon masks at all. So for my first background, I am using Shaded Lilac, Villainous Potion, Blueprint Sketch, and Black Soot with the Tim Holtz moon mask. This is the medium size mask from there, to create a background because of course we need our witch silhouetted against the moon. I did do my moon in Shaded Lilac. I've been trying a lot of different color combinations, and I will tell you my favorite is coming up. I think my favorite color for moon is Tumbled Glass, and which you'll see in a little bit. Not to say I don't love this one. I do think it turned out great, but Tumbled Glass is the way to go. I'm loving it. Now, my idea for this, as I was just talking about the show Bewitched, was I wanted my sparkles to be a little, or my splatter and sparkles to be a little more contained, if that makes sense. So I wanted to find a way to create a background where they kind of have that little trail coming back behind where the witch is going to go. That's what we're going to work on here in just a second. And that's why this is the one card in the set. Well, not the one card, but that has a galaxy, or not galaxy, Halloween background with sparkle that's a little more contained. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my inspiration, I suppose, for this design. Lots of distress ink. You can see here, very much been into my distress inks again. So we're kind of gonna go ahead and add our layering for the moon. I used Black Soot for this. Very light. I didn't re-ink it. And then I like to always go over it again. Shaded Lilac. You could do a little Tumbled Glass. You're going to see me come back with Tumbled Glass in a little bit near the end when I put this card together. Because all of the rest of my cards will feature elements from the Witch Please stamp set, I will be kind of going back and forth from now on, working on all 3 cards at the same time. So I'm placing my solid moon mask over the moon so I don't get any sparkles there. And then I just took stencils. I specifically looked for stencils that had kind of a soft curved edge. So Lawn Fawn Hillside and Slimline Hillside, because I need 2, is what I ended up using. They're going to protect my card, and they're going to give this really fun little trail. Think outside of the box with your supplies. Is the point of my story here. So I want to make sure that I've protected anything that I don't want splattered. I'm right back to my splatter box using the same gouache and liquid stardust as before, and I'm going to create that little bit of galaxy, or why do I keep saying galaxy? Stars and sparkle, but only in this little contained spot. I really like how it turned out. Once you remove all the masks and things, you just have this great little sparkly trail coming from where will be our little witch here in a little bit. So another fun idea. Hopefully that inspires you to try something similar. It's time to stamp. I've got lots and lots of things to stamp. So we're going to stamp our witches. My favorite black ink for super great coverage is VersaFine Onyx Black, which I'm going to stamp on smooth white cardstock. When you die cut these, they are going to have a white outline. Please, that's just the way it goes. So you could definitely stamp them directly on your card if you want to eliminate the outline look. Then we're going to move on to a new layering stencil set. I love a good layering stencil set. How about you guys? So this is the Spooky Icons stencils. 4 stencils in this one. We're going to use 4 colors of Distress Oxide ink. We're going to use Crackling Campfire first, and I am stenciling on Simon Says Stamp Fog Gray cardstock. This is the only background that is not a solid white, and that is because I want to ink in white on this light gray cardstock so that you get the skeleton and the white part of the candy cane and all of that, so it shows up. So the first stencil I'm inking is the pumpkins and then like parts of the candy and the candy corn. Crackling Campfire. And then we're going to take our next stencil and we're going to get it lined up, and this is going to be the white pigment ink. So our acrylic block we used earlier, I actually didn't wash it off yet, so I'm going to grab it again. I'm going to press my white pigment ink into that acrylic block, and I'm going to ink up all of the sections with my white pigment ink for this next one. I did go over this a couple of times to try to get the ink a little bit more bold. I think maybe if I did this again, I would use 1 shade darker cardstock so it shows up a little bit better. However, I'm super happy with the finished results, so you know, it's all good. And here I am lining it back up because I just wasn't super happy with my skeleton heads. In the finished card, I think they look fantastic, so it's kind of funny. I love the candy. That's not something that I've seen a ton, the Halloween candies, so I really like how this turned out. The third stencil is going to be our stars and anything yellow on the design. So that's going to be like maybe some of the candy and the candy corn. We're going to use Wild Honey for that. Of course, I'm still messing around with my white pigment ink. So we'll grab our third stencil. And then the fourth stencil will be the black soot. That's going to be the detail on the skeleton's eyes and things. That's going to be our spiders, our bats, as well as anything else that requires some black. You can do this in any color you want. I kept mine very traditional. So this is a completely different look for the witch. 2 of my witches kind of have more of the same kind of nighttime sky with the moon background. This one is going to be the standing witch, and we're going to make a shaker card. And I absolutely love this. This is what really makes the whole thing come together. And we're just going to take a pretty heavy hand of black soot and go over the whole panel. It's creating your own pattern paper is what I like to call this technique, and it's something I really love. I can't get enough of layering stencils. I think they are very, very useful. Oh, it's so cute. Honestly, you could just put a big bold sentiment on this and you could be done. It's a really great background. Okay, next up, we need to stamp a border that I want to use for one of my nighttime witch cards. And this is the new Gothic Halloween. It's beautiful. I love the font of this. This is yet again another great Halloween product from Simon Says Stamp. The text is so amazing and I love a good text background. I'm only actually going to use a portion of this so I can save the rest of it for another project. We are going to stamp the whole thing though using clear embossing ink and heat emboss with black embossing powder. I think I actually used the brand new Lawn Fawn black embossing powder and it's really, really nice. I love it. This was my first time using it. Once I have all of my black embossing powder, I am going to heat set this. And I think we're almost to a point, oh no, I still have one more sky to ink blend. I was gonna say almost to the point where we can put it all together, but I was really just switching back and forth between these, coming up with ideas for all three of these last cards to make them a little bit different. There were a couple spots where I stamped this that I didn't maybe get it stamped great, but because I'm trimming this into about a 1 3/4 by 5.5 inch strip, it's totally fine. I think just like this would be beautiful. You could, you know, put maybe a pumpkin die cut on it or something. And I like that just, you know, white with black. So for my final background, this is going to be the other one with the moon mask. I'm going to use the smallest moon mask from Tim Holtz on this one. And I'm trimming down my strip. You can see the elements that I'm going to use. I needed to trim it. I trimmed it a little wide and then I cut it down. And I love that you can see Happy Halloween, Hocus, Bats. I love the words. So let's go ahead and ink blend this background as well. We won't have to quite do the whole panel because we're going to cover up that bottom strip with our words. So this is my favorite moon color, I have decided. Out of all of them I've done, I think this is my favorite. So using the smallest moon mask, I went around the edge with tumbled glass. And then I removed the moon mask and very lightly went over the moon with tumbled glass to give the moon that beautiful glow. Around the glow, we're going to apply Blueprint Sketch, pulling even some of that blue into the moon, which I personally think looks nice. I like how it's not perfect. We're going to put the moon mask in place and use the Blueprint Sketch left on our blending brush and then go over it with tumbled glass. Then we're going to pull in a little purple out here. This is the Villainous Potion. And then finally, to make it dark and moody, which you know is my favorite, we're going to use some black soot. Black soot is like the magic sauce, I feel like, for Distress ink. If you want something kind of dirty and moody, oh, I love black soot for that. So here is kind of how it's looking. I definitely don't want to leave that border white. It's way too stark white. Because we stamped and embossed it, I'm going to simply ink over it with Villainous Potion and a little black soot. And honestly, I could see making a whole bunch of these in different colors for card backgrounds. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Who am I, guys? If you've been here a while, you know that purple has not been my favorite in the past. I've said it a lot. However, I will say over the last year, I've learned to embrace my purple and I use it all the time. So I think I can't say that anymore, that I'm not a purple person, because Villainous Potion is getting a workout. Here are the products I'm going to use for this. Again, I'm going to do something very kind of similar to that last one. We're only going to use the moon mask though, and I'm going to splatter the whole thing with the white gouache and liquid stardust. Let that dry while we work on everything else. I just don't want the splatters over the moon itself. This does dry pretty quickly, I've found. So that makes me happy. Oh, so pretty. So let's go ahead and go back to what I'm calling my Bewitched card while we're waiting for that to dry. And I decided, even though there's a coordinating die for the Have a Bewitching Halloween greeting, I am going to stamp and emboss this greeting directly on my background. I did let my background probably dry for an hour and a half. I was working on other things for these cards and whatnot. So if you're using distress ink, you either need to heat set so that you can emboss on it, or you need to let it air dry for quite a while. I let mine air dry, and then I'm stamping with clear embossing ink right on the background. We're going to use that same Lawn Fawn black embossing powder and then heat set that sentiment. If you want, you could always use the coordinating die. And I really love how that looks. So I have a sentiment strip that I stamped earlier that I'm going to use underneath here. We're going to use I'll Fly With You Any Night. I thought that was cute. Who am I kidding? I love everything in this stamp set. And then we're going to pop up our witch. I'm going to use the foam adhesive from Simon Says Stamp. Just going to kind of cut it to fit the back of my witch. We're going to pop her up right there in front of the moon. We'll add our sentiment strip. And then what I think really finishes off this particular card is like some little sparklies. We're going to do some little sparkles and little stars and things to give it a little bit more of a finished look, I suppose. And then here's that tumbled glass. I wanted to pull in a little more blue. And then we're going to adhere that. This panel, all of my panels today are going to be just side to side. So they're all going to be A2 sized 4.5 or 4.25, pardon me, by 5.5 inches. A lot of times I like to leave a little bit of a border, but I opted to not do that today. And then I love the little white sentiment strip. Really, really cute. We're going to use our side fold card base this time. And glue that down. I've got a little black heart accent that I'm going to add underneath. I did end up adding a couple more a little bit later as I was sitting looking at it. So in the finished photos, you'll notice that. Little dabs of glue. Here's those little star bursts. When I tip the card and you see the sparkle, I think it's really where you get that magical feel that I absolutely love, although you can really see it here on camera. And then the little stars, and I'm going to, only a few of them are going to kind of go outside of that little, you know, magic dust from her broomstick or whatever. Oh, I love it. So much fun. And there we go. Now I realized that I needed a couple more sentiments that I must have forgot to stamp. So I'm going to stamp Happy Halloween and From Your Favorite Witch. Or no, You're Spooky Perfect. I've got 2 cards to finish. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp these. I will be using the coordinating die for Happy Halloween. And then I'm using the sentiment label die to die cut You're Spooky Perfect. From our stenciled background, I did use the previously released Simon Says Stamp Nested Domed Arches. We're going to create a shaker, and we're going to create a shaker with vellum. So it's going to slightly mute the background a little bit. I'm going to put adhesive on the back it with vellum, which just, it mutes it, but it doesn't cover it up. And I think it's going to help our sentiments stand out a little bit against a busy background. I'm going to adhere, I'm not going to get rid of any of the pieces, so that's going to be the back of the card. We're going to adhere it right to our card base. I'm using the Simon Says Stamp red tape. It's really strong. I'm loving it. I'm loving that too. It's not brand new, but I've been using it a lot lately. And I should have put my arch, my domed arch, down on my card before, but I didn't, so doing it now. That's okay. I like it. Let's go ahead and adhere our witch right to that vellum cover. Going to use a little red tape for her as well, that silhouetted witch holding her broomstick. Now this time we're going to use the Witch Please words. There's also a Witch Please sentiment in the Witch Please stamp set that you could have stamped in and die cut. I'm going to go around the entire perimeter of the card with the brand new Simon Says Stamp foam tape, making sure that it butts right up next to itself all the way around the edges to create a shaker well. And then there's a new sequin mix, and I'm going to just put a little bit in here. Go ahead and see if I like how that looks. I do. I think that's going to be cute. Let's go ahead and remove the backing paper. Again, look how easy it comes off. I love that. And then we're going to put our cover on. And I did die cut Witch Please 3 times. I will be inking up one of them and then stacking them one on top of another to place on my card. You could use the outline from Witch Please. I opted not to. I decided to just use the actual words. I am inking it up with Crackling, Campfire, and Black Soot. Kind of tie into the stenciling we did. And then I'm going to glue these one on top of another before adhering it right to my card. So I just need to pop all of these out. I'm using a little liquid glue and an acrylic block to help smash this down and really seal the layers together really well. It's funny how I don't use acrylic blocks for stamping hardly at all anymore, but I still have them and I still use them daily because I use them to either hold glued elements down in place and hold it flat, or to squish together layers if I'm stacking multiple die cuts together. And there's the Witch Please. And then Your Spooky Perfect is going underneath it. How fun is that? I thought I might replace the little dot on the eye with a heart, but I don't like it. So we definitely need to add our die cuts. Good thing I saved those. I think it shows up much better. We'll add a little trio of hearts. And then let's go ahead and go back to our final card base. The splatter should be dry now. I'm going to put my border down along the bottom edge. I did trim about an 1/8 of an inch strip of gloss black cardstock. I like when I have 2 papers together like this, either if it's pattern paper or like in this case where I made my own. I think a little divider makes it look really nice. So I did that little black cardstock strip. We're going to pop up Happy Halloween right over that. We're going to pop up our witch. We're going to pop up our sentiment strip. We have to be kind of creative with how we piece together the sentiment strip with the foam adhesive. So you can see I'm putting a little foam adhesive right underneath there. I don't think Happy Halloween's very straight. And then liquid glue where it overlaps the sentiment. And then we've got our final flying witch. We'll add some little sparkles and all of that good stuff to the sky. Look at that moon. Look at the glow. Favorite color combination: tumbled glass, blueprint sketch, villainous potion, and black soot. I promise you are going to love that background. Some little sparkles. We'll place this on our card base. And that is going to be it, friends. So I hope you have enjoyed this Halloween card showcase featuring brand new Simon Says Stamptember 2022 release products. Please stay tuned. all month long for lots of amazing cards, inspiration, all of the good stuff. Be sure and come back tomorrow. There's going to be another video here, as well as a blog party with lots of inspiration from Simon Says Stamp. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my Patreon members. I appreciate you guys so very much. If you would like to become a member of Patreon, please click the link in the description below. We would love to see you over there as part of our growing community. Here is another video featuring Simon Says Stamp products that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new card making video. Thank you guys so very much for joining me, and we'll see you again next time. Bye!